The start of urbanization was due to new technologies and more factories. Both of these things required more workers, which forced people to move from farmlands to the city. This massive movement signified a huge transitional period for the United States. As a result of people migrating more and more in search of jobs, overcrowding quickly became a problem. Housing called tenements were built. They were buildings normally between 5 or 6 stories that were simple, easy, and cheap to build. When living in tenements, diseases were spread more quickly due to living so close to one another. Living conditions were awful. They were often overcrowded, leaving people on the streets. There were shacks and rental apartments built in the slums and ghettos for the immigrants. Poor sanitation led to deadly epidemics in the towns and cities. Cholera, tuberculosis, typhus, typhoid, and influenza ravaged through the cities. In 1849, 10,000 people died just from cholera alone, not to mention the high rate of pollution in the tenements or how the streets were filled with trash and waste. However, most importantly, homes lacked toilets and sewage systems. As a result, drinking water sources, such as wells, were frequently contaminated. Poor health conditions were only at the homes, but also in their work due to poor working conditions. Factory work was dirty and dangerous. For little money, company owners strictly disciplined their employees and treated them harshly. Employees worked 12 to 16 hours, and if you complained, got sick or hurt, you were fired. Children and women also worked in factories. Companies hired children because their small hands could reach into tiny holes, making it easier for them to do things which required small hands or bodies. Also, families needed as much income as possible. Women were hired due to the fact that companies could pay them little, then send them home where they cooked and cleaned for the remainder of the day. Although there are many negative effects of urbanization, there are also positive effects such as new technologies. Steam engine, railroad systems, oil stoves, and even today's modern bicycle are some of the technologies that were considered new. The steam engine and railroad systems were built to provide cheap movement of goods through waterways in distant towns with ease. Railroads also gave people an opportunity to travel, while technology made urban living more practical and comfortable. The use of steel gliders allowed cities to grow into the sky. Public lighting made the streets safer, while sewage systems improved the overall health. Other cultural benefits include museums, libraries, schools, parks, and zoos that were built in the cities to provide opportunities for residents that were unavailable in rural areas. Despite all the new and amazing things that are around, there are many underlying problems that people considered as social Darwinism. Social Darwinism was the leading philosophy during the mid-1800s. It stated that survival of the fittest was a generally accepted idea. Only the strongest and the fittest would survive and flourish in society. Darwinists believed that the government should not interfere with social ills such as poverty. As you can see, urbanization was the start of many things, including the movement of people from one place to another.